believe, become, be great.
Peeling back the greatest, baby. Welcome back. I'm your host, Derek DeLeon. We're back with another episode. More than halfway through season 2. It's been a crazy journey. It's been an amazing one. Again, shout out to all my guests that have come on, told their story, give a little bit of just some inspiring, positive messages and stuff like that. So thank you everybody. I do have a special guest with me today on this one, um, Malina. So me and Malina, so we went to school together. So we ended up went to high school together. I know we didn't talk really at all in high school, but just through the grapevine and stuff and the mutual friends and stuff, we kind of started talking a little bit. So Melina, I want to welcome you to Peeling Back the Greatness. This is a Be Great story. I want you to go ahead and you know give a little intro, who you are, where you come from, a little background.
Hey everyone, I'm Malina. Grew up here in Denver. I'm a homebody, so coming on here is a privilege and kind of excited for it. Single mom of three, and just want to do great things to the world and raise awareness to those single moms who are doubtful of not being able to do it, that they absolutely can, and just inspiring them of how to be better parents.
Kids. One thing I gotta say is kids are crazy. I think we can all agree with
Absolutely,
that,
yes.
right? Kids are crazy, but they're really one thing that, and I hear this all the time, and I know my kids, they're very honest, they're very open. I know there's the number one thing that kids will always say is, "Oh, you're old," and blah blah blah, stuff like that. To me, doesn't really phase me, doesn't really affect me all that much. But um, you gotta love kids. They definitely make our world go round. They provide a different type of lifestyle, different type of adjustment. Definitely a lot to adapt to. It's a whole nother level to not just have to take care of ourselves, but to also have these little people just running around, just running amok everywhere, having to make sure that they're being taken care of, making sure they're good and stuff. What are some to you? What are some challenges that you have faced with parenthood? Because I know, like for me, I know one of the biggest challenges is really making sure that they're where they need to be. When I first had kids, I will say when I first had kids, it's nerve wracking. It's definitely nerve wracking because you don't really know what you're getting yourself into. Me, I had my first daughter when I was 20 years old. So young age, and it is different. Obviously, as we mature, or as I started becoming more mature, started diving into different things. It's like, okay, now I really got to become a leader, really be able to showcase, hey, this is the gateway, this is the path to really what it takes. And what are some challenges that you have found or that you have faced along the way with your kids?
One of the challenges is, am I going to make it at the end of the day? Am I going to be able to provide food or a shelter over their head? I had my first daughter at the age of 18. So my senior year in high school, I was
Wow.
pregnant. So it was challenging because I grew up as a spoiled brat. And I could admit that. I was daddy's little girl, never had my first job until I had my child. So having a child and, not knowing what the real world was like was definitely challenging. Um, so it was just hard just to make sure, and still to this day, like having three girls is okay. How do I teach them how to be independent? Like, am I capable of showing them like, yes, you are strong enough to do this without somebody, you know, guiding you or depending on somebody else to help you. So that's one of my biggest challenge today, and especially in today's society, I feel like for girls it's a lot harder because of social media. Feeling that, oh my gosh, they have to dress this way, and if their nails aren't long like Cardi B's, then you don't fit in,
Hmm.
or if you don't wear a certain type of outfit. And it's just hard because sometimes I see my 16-year-old walk out of the house in just ripped jeans and a crop top and a full face of makeup. And I'm like, who are you trying to impress?
Like,
Like,
hell
you
no.
turn your butt back inside and change, like,
Mm-hmm.
cover up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, she goes, Mom, this is the style. And I was like, I don't care what the style is. And I think that that's one of the hardest, is just trying to compete with social media and the media now for what they portray young women should look like.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to teach my kids to be that strong, independent woman, like, that's the biggest challenge today. And it's just so hard because mental health is one of the biggest things. And I see it not only in myself, but in my kids as well,
Mm-hmm.
that
Yep.
they're having troubles. And it's just like everybody thinks it's okay for cyberbullying, that it's, you know, that's the cool thing to do, is
Mm-hmm.
just body shame somebody. And I've seen so many girls, young girls, go through it, even young boys go through it, because they're not as, the boys are not as ripped as most people, and they need to start hitting the gym, or the girls are a size 8 in pants instead of a size 0. And so it's just one of those things, is that's what I face, because I see it in my girls as they come home every day, or just listening to their conversations. It's, how do I change their mindset? How do I help them change their mindset and see a different view than what everybody else is telling them?
Right. That's, I love that you said that. That's a great story, by the way. A great take on that. One of the biggest things that I know, and I agree with everything you said too, by the way. The biggest thing is that, yes, a lot of the youth, especially the girls, they're very easily influenced. Boys, yeah, we could say the same thing. They're easily influenced, but they got that little more hard headiness to them. So for me, again, being a father of two girls, being able to, it's a different side of the fence, right? So like, you're a mom to three girls, so they're gonna move how you move. They're gonna see how you are, and they're gonna follow that. And so going with the example of, because my oldest daughter, she'll wear a crop top and she'll do all. I'm like, no, you're not wearing that shit out in public. I'm like, you're not, you're not. No, go, I'll do the same thing. Go change. What I'm trying to show is that, being different is going to be the key to a lot of different things, right? Now, I've used this example a lot. Think about the people that all they care about is shoes, all they want is Jordan, stuff like that. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I'm not gonna say a lot of Jordans, but I got Jordans. I primarily wear Nike. My biggest thing is, why would I want the same thing as thousands of other people? So how you do one thing is how you do everything. And again, this is me, right? So if I change something as little as that, it's going to lead to a result that's as big as, hey, here's my mentality, here's my leadership. So trying to, like, guiding my daughters in the right path, in the right direction, it's been a big challenge. It really has, because my youngest daughter this was just a couple years ago, was getting bullied because she was being a leader. So it's like, if we're not on that same level as the people with the negative mindset, then there's nothing that they're going to be able to resonate with, because the negativity is going to resonate with the negativity. Think about a job. Same thing at a job. I know I've been there, and I've been one of those negative ones. You pinpoint, you hit a spot in other people that they start, manipulating, they start talking and being negative and it's just all the bullshit. So my point with all this is that, it does start with us. It starts with us as leaders, us as parents. If we can't even get our own shit together, how can we expect our kids to get it together? How can we expect our kids to be able to lead in that way? Um, so yeah, the youth itself. Like you said, mental health is huge. Mental health is very, very big. It's not. It's definitely not what it used to. I mean, it is a very sensitive subject, and especially if they have a lack of direction or they don't know where to go. I know there's a lot of people that don't even take that serious, and so that in itself could be very difficult, because if you're a kid, not only are you vulnerable, but nobody's taking, like, the way you feel, nobody's taking that serious.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. No, definitely on that intake. A lot of mental health is, you just suck it up. Nobody needs to know what's going on inside our home, type feel. And that's a lot everywhere. But I try to create a safe space for my kids to be open. One of the things that I say is always be yourself. for me, like, don't try to hide who you are. As much as I've tried to hide who I was, and it really bit me in the ass later on, because then once my true self started showing, it was just like, who are you? I don't even know who you are. And then you change who you are for somebody else to be accepted. And I feel like that's what, I'm trying to teach my kids not to do, like, to never stop being yourself, express yourself. Like, if you're freaking doing weird things, do weird things. Like, I'm 34 and I still find sitting in a fucking box fun. Like, that's my freaking boxcar.
Get in the laundry
Yes.
basket. I'm taking you on a roller
Like,
coaster.
I mean, even at work, it's just like they bring a box and I'm like, all right, jump. I'm jumping in. It's my box
I
car.
think I
Somebody
seen
push
that. I
me.
seen that. Yeah,
Like,
that's
I
funny.
just be myself. And that's one of the things is I tell my kids, it's just be yourself. Absolutely. Be weird. Do the things that you love. Nobody's going to stop you. Because at the end of the day, if you can't accept who you are as a person, no one's going to accept you.
Right.
And so it's one of the things that I try to create as a safe space for my kids to always be themselves. Um, and I know it's challenging because my oldest was bullied because she's really tiny. Um, she's barely not even 5 foot yet, and
Was she a preemie? Did she come out of it?
no,
Oh, okay.
she was born really small, but she came out a week late. So this is where I was
Oh,
just like,
wow.
oh, I
Okay.
can't imagine if she came early. But she's really tiny. Just her dad's side of the family is tiny, so
Okay.
um, she got picked on a lot for being, and still now, her behind the wheel, she has to like hire the seat all the way up and scoot all the way forward. And yes, I make fun of her for that too, but I sit like that. So
Yeah, but you're her mom though, so I mean,
yeah.
she knows your
So
humor.
she got picked on, and I think that was one of the hardest things for her was being bullied for being small. And she goes, I can't do this. Like, I will never fit in. Like, these girls are tall, and I always want to be tall. And, like, you look at these models, and I was just like, hey, it's okay. I was just like, in today's society, it's okay to be small, like, and be a model too. And I was just like, you have to wear that confidence. If you don't have that confidence and you allow somebody to break down your confidence and say that you can't do something and you just allow them, then you'll never be able to do it. You'll live in your own mind saying, I will never be good enough. I will never. And it's now to the point where my kids are older and I'm more open with them. And I tell them all the time, I allowed somebody to control me. I allowed somebody to tell me what I can and cannot wear. I allowed somebody to stop me from living my dreams, to achieving my goals. And that's the one thing I don't ever want my kids to know, is just because, yeah, I gave up a lot of myself for someone who, I thought was going to be forever, and turned out that I was nothing but just someone,
Just another one.
just another one on the list. And I said I gave up 14 years of my life.
Damn, that's a lot.
And
That's a lot.
I go, and you don't want to do that. You don't want time wasted. Um, you just want to go out there and do it. And I put it in my kids, and I was like, I've done a lot of things that, yes, you will make mistakes. I will let you make mistakes, but it's how you learn from them. I don't ever want you to be like, oh shit, my mom's going to find out. I want it to be like, oh shit, I need to call my mom. And so I try to keep that open with them. Like, no matter what situation you are in, always know that I have your back. Just because, yeah, if you feel like you have to run scared from me, then that's absolutely something you should not be doing.
Yeah.
And so it's hard raising girls.
Yeah, and kids get intimidated by that too. I know my daughters, they feel intimidated by me, and it sucks because I'll say this for example. So I don't even like talking about this, but I'm going to talk about it. So for the longest time, I've always told my daughters, you're not gonna have a boyfriend, like fuck them boys, blah blah blah. Just typical dad stuff. Well, got to a point where I started thinking like, damn, what if I really do scare them away from? I mean, because let's just face it, like I do want my daughters to get married. I want to walk them down the aisle. Like that's like my number one thing outside of being successful and doing what I'm doing is I want to live long enough to walk them down the aisle. That's it. So I started to hit me a little bit like, damn, I hope I'm not like destructing their hopes of their dreams of finding somebody. Because yes, I'm a dad. Yes, I'm gonna talk my shit when it comes to boys, but I also know how relentless. We all know how relentless boys are.
Yes.
So I started to really fix my thinking. Bless you. Started to fix my thinking a little bit, and the way that I approach that, like, okay, I'm gonna stop talking shit about it because I don't want them to feel so scared that my dad's gonna kill me if I have a boyfriend. So sounds weird to say that, but I gotta think of the long term plan. I can't be selfish in my ways, because that's exactly what it was like that for. I mean, my daughters are 12 and 14, so I mean, it was like that for at least 7, 8 years. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to just boys in general, how crazy they are and how they they're so caught up. They're the rebels. They're rebellious, and when you tell them not to do something, and they're just like, I want to see what the after effect is. I want to see what the result is because, and I made this point before, Melina. A lot of negative stuff is stuff that we don't actually do see. A lot of people, the reason why they provoke or I say to you, the reason why kids provoke other kids to do negative stuff is because they may never see that again, and they know that it's wrong. So to have somebody else do it for them, so they can actually visually see it, that's where it just circulates, and it all, it's all intertwined. It's like a big ass tornado, just like all at the bottom, just doing this, circulating.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I try to just let them express who they are, go out like with their friends. I am big on like the whole not dating thing, just because it, I put myself as a teenage girl, and the guys that I started talking to in high school were, yeah, douchebags. I mean, teenage boys. They're learning who they are. They're just, you know,
Assholes.
yeah, absolutely, 100% assholes. And still, like now, just seeing what my daughter goes through, and I'm just like try to teach her like, hey, you know, be true to yourself. Like just because a guy is forcing you to be with them, whatever, and if you don't feel comfortable, don't do it. And it's just like I want you to be able to talk to me because I rather know what's going on in my kid's life than for them to go behind my back and do something and then get into trouble where, I'm trying to figure out how the hell am I going to get them out of this trouble. And so me growing up in a strict cultural family, I wasn't allowed to have sleepovers. I wasn't allowed to go over to my friend's house. None of that. So it's just still now as an adult and letting my kids do so, it's one of those things where my parents are like, why would you, do you trust? And my biggest thing is I do trust my kid. I trust my kid that I raised them well enough to have respect in someone else's home. But my biggest thing is I need to know the parents before you are staying the night at someone else's house.
Oh, yeah.
That then I would be okay. So that's one of the things. And it's just like trying to teach them, how to be aware of their surroundings. And it's the biggest thing because there's still some days where I'm like clueless as a bat and don't pay attention. And I'm like, oh. And so and I do think of, okay, where do I want my kids to be when they are my age? What do I want my kids to do? I don't want them following my footsteps into being a teenage mom. Like that was the biggest struggle of trying to figure out life. I had to grow up way too fast.
Right.
And so it's just like, okay, do I allow them to date? And I need to know this person. And so it's just like with my youngest being 11 and now she's going through all her changes. It's just like,
Yeah.
okay, now I'm on my last one. I'm doing okay with my oldest and my middle child. I'm so glad that my middle child's like so I don't want to date. I don't want a boyfriend.
My youngest used to be that way, and now she has a boyfriend.
I mean, she's 13
So,
and she's just so studious. Like she's so focused on like being top achiever. So right now I have nothing to worry about because every time I bring up the boy conversation, she goes, ew, stop, they're gross. And I'm like, okay, good. I like that mindset. But then it's also like my youngest is just like, Mom, I think I have a crush. And I'm like, oh gosh, no, you're too young for this. I was like, you are too young for this. What do you mean you have a crush? And she goes, I don't know. I think I like a boy, but, and I was just like, it's okay to have a crush, but no boyfriends. You're 11.
Nothing further than that.
Yeah. And then so it's just now like me being a single mom, like they're trying to see how I do things and I try to be as independent as I can. And that's my selfish part of me is in my ego that I don't ask for help even when I need it. I rather figure out a way to get things done than to depend on anybody to take care of me ever again.
Right.
And so it's like showing my kids like you don't need a man in your life. And it's just like you could get things done by yourself and just trying to be that role model for them. And now it's just like as I'm starting to kind of open that door into dating, I was just like, oh, if I'm opening that door for myself, I have to be more open minded for my kids when they come talk to me about boys and not be like, nope, I'm shutting it down. You're not allowed to talk to boys. Because, yes, as a parent, you don't want your kids to grow up. You want to shelter them as much as possible and keep them in a little box. But it's just so weird that my 16-year-old would be like, Mom, and start talking to me about like her boyfriend and all the things.
I feels a little weird. It's almost like a best friend, but you're
Yeah,
like,
I was like, do I be a parent?
yeah, I know.
Where's that
I know,
fine
I
line
know.
between being a mom and being a friend at the same time?
Right.
So it's just like, okay, talk to me like I am your best friend, but then I am going to put
I'm
my
a-
mom input in it. So you
Yep.
can't get mad when I put my mom input in it. Um, and I was just like, in the first time, my daughter's talking to me about a boyfriend. Like she was just like, Mom, I really like this guy and I think I want him to be my boyfriend, but I don't know how. And I'm just like, okay. And, my first reaction to her probably wasn't the best because when she was talking to me about it, my first reaction was just like, you're not going to fucking make me a grandma in my 30s. And she was like, Mom, I didn't even say anything like that. And I was just like,
Shit.
I just know how teenagers are. And she
Yeah.
was just like, but Mom, that's not even the case. I like this boy. And she goes, I want you to meet him. And I was just like,
Oh,
take a
shit.
step back. Take a step back before, I'm letting my own emotions get in the way. But
Yeah.
it was just one of those things like, yeah, how do I draw that fine line of, okay, be open. Let your kids tell you everything without judgment, without any of that. Because, yeah, that was my first instinct was, you're not going to fucking make me a grandma. I am too young to be a grandma. And she was just like, Mom, you're teaching me right. Like, yes, you were a teenage mom. It doesn't mean I have to be. And so it's just hearing her tell me that was just like,
Smart. That's a smart comment.
okay, you're right. You're not going to follow my footsteps in everything that I do. But I just want to be that example for you that I've been through it and it's not easy. And, it's one of those things where you're on the go so much that you just want to shelter them that you don't realize that you sheltering them is affecting them in more ways than doing them good.
Yeah.
So it was just like I had to take a step back. And, being a single parent is hard because it's just like I feel like I'm always the bad parent. So and then just seeing that in my kids is how do you provide that safe space if you feel like you're the bad parent, you're the discipliner, you're the strict one, you're, it's just how do you create that and be a leader to them if now like you're like shit, you're going through your own struggles and it's just
Yeah.
like. But one thing I've learned is never hide anything from your kids. I think I hid a lot and that's where it kind of tumbled down.
Yeah. And I think, for me personally too, I believe that when it comes to my kids specifically, one thing I didn't want them to misinterpret is, hey, yes, I have a lot of friends, but also when it came to dating, right? So I didn't want them to get too attached to every, like through my relationships and all that, because as they grow older, because the last thing I want them to see is, well, my dad is with a bunch of different girls.
Yeah.
So I prevented that, which is why I did stay single for so long. I mean, that wasn't the only reason, but it started to kind of develop into that where I'm like, I really got to watch what the fuck I do, because the whole party and shit. I mean, I sat down I did all that in my 20s. Once I hit, let's see, 5 years ago. So once I hit 30, 29 going on 30, that's when I really started to I started being around the successful people. I started to really think like, damn, I could really these are the types of people I want to be around. The positive people, the people that give you, that inspire you, that want that greater change for you. That's where it all started. Now with my daughters, with them, again, it's like Okay, I need to provide that way of, hey, not not every friend's gonna come with you. Not every friend's gonna root for you. Not every friend's gonna be your cheerleader. Most of them are gonna try and be a truth teller, but not everybody's gonna cheer you on. So trying to show them that, hey, through this process that I went through, not every friend has come with me. As a matter of fact, when I graduated Colorado Media School last year. The first thing I did, I went and hit up all my friends. Hey, I got this platform. Hey, I'm radio, TV, blah blah blah. I have a opportunity for you. I have this and that. Guess what? None of them came. So that's when I started to understand, like, okay, they don't you to me, I don't think they really understand that, oh shit, I can actually do this. Because it's one thing to dream, it's one thing to be a dreamer, but when you start initiating what you're actually wanting to do, it becomes nerve wracking. There's a sense of like sustainability with it where I want job security. Okay, you want to live a dream, but you want job security. It doesn't work that way. Something's gonna be sacrificed. It's either gonna be one or the other. And so that's my biggest thing and my biggest purpose is trying to give people opportunity, trying to show people, right? And through that, I feel like showing my daughters that, hey, you can be on this side. You like my oldest daughter, Nayeli, she wants to be a singer. Cool. You want to be a singer? Well, guess what? Let's let's write you songs. I mean, I even bought a portable studio for her to record. So I mean, there's those certain things, right? We got to provide it. We whatever our kids want, we have to give it to them. We have to feed it because they have no direction without us. I bring this up on more occasions than one, but when people say, "Oh, follow your dream," the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
Like
What is
they're kids.
what is surgery?
Exactly.
It changes
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
5 times in a year. I mean, my oldest wanted to be, she wanted to be a singer. She wanted to be an actress. Now she wants her own business. Like, she's
There you
learning.
go.
And I'm just like, okay, well, let's, see where that goes. And my youngest she wanted to be a surgeon. Still wants to be a doctor. Then she's just like, maybe I'll be a nurse, just like mom. And, she just goes back and forth. And then it's just like, I want them to explore. I'm not going to tell them, like, hey, just because mom's a nurse and she likes blood and she likes seeing, gruesome things, doesn't mean you do. So you don't have to be a nurse because mom's a nurse. You don't have to follow my footsteps. But let me know where your passion is and what you like to
Yep.
do. If you want to sing, let's get you vocal classes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get you where you need to go, and then we could go from there. And if hey,
Yep.
you happen to change your mind afterwards, that's fine. But my biggest thing is for my kids is, especially when it comes to sports, if I sign you up for sports, you are going to finish out the season, whether it's a sport for you or not. You are going to make it to every practice, you are going to make it to every game, and you are going to put in the effort. Because if you don't, you won't know if you actually truly like it or dislike it.
Right.
So that's my biggest intake. But then it's just like providing those resources for them. What do you want to do? What makes you happy? Like, do you like singing? Do you want to become a singer?
Yeah.
Do you want to be an astronaut? Like, do you like science? Do you like math?
Or if you could get paid to be one thing, what would it
Yeah.
be?
And if you could do something that will make you happy for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, then it gets their brain thinking. But then I will never be like, you have to be this because it makes the most money. Like, you're going to be a lawyer because it makes the best money. You're going to be, yeah, absolutely. You're going to be a surgeon because that's going to, I know you're going to be set at the end of the day. I don't want that. And for me, it's just like, I want you to be happy, and then success will follow you.
Mm-hmm.
If you are happy, then you could achieve things, but you can't just sit back and think that happiness is coming to you. You have to get out there and do it. But what is it that you want to do? What are the resources that I could provide for you to get there?
Yep.
And how do we move forward with it? Because I was just like, and again, it's just like, I didn't have that help. And it's just, for me, the last 2.5 years, I had to pick up and start over. And so one of the things that I tried hiding from my kids is, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm as unhappy as I was, like I tried to play that facade, and
Yeah.
it came crumbling down to where my kids did see that. And I was just like, okay, now let's show them that side of mom. Let's show them that mom was broken. Let's show them that it's okay to fall apart. But now let's flip that script.
Mm-hmm.
Let's show them what mom can do on her own, how what's gonna strive. And I just took it and ran with it. And it was just like one of those things that as a mom, what I heard from my girls was, I am proud of you. She My youngest was just like, Mom, I'm so proud of you. I know how bad you were hurt. I know how bad that you were crying every night, and I hated seeing that. But she was just like, I'm proud of you because look at what we have. And and that's what made me realize that the kids see everything. um Whether we want to believe it or not, as much as we tried hiding things from our kids, they see everything. And it took my youngest to be like, look what you were able to provide for us.
Yeah.
You And it just like, okay, now let me be that parent and provide for my kids, to let them be able to sprout and become that independent little women that I'm trying to raise them to be,
Right.
without having to depend on a man to take care of them, without having
Mm-hmm.
to depend on anybody. That they could be the leader in themselves, and then be the leader for everyone else too. Like, to always be that positive
Right. And they can
reinforcement.
filter in what they need and stuff they don't need. And that's good. I'm going to quote Deion Sanders because there's something you said that resonate with me, right? The money's always going to be there. Deion said, chase greatness. Don't chase the bag. You can't find greatness in the bag, but you can find the bag in greatness. And so that resonates with everything I believe, because I've said it since day one. And I've learned this in the financial industry, that money is just a byproduct of the value we offer and that we bring. That really sat with me, because I started thinking like, damn, I'm seeing all these 6 and 7 figure earners around me. I'm like, I'm gonna take every word of what they're saying. So there's a lot of stuff I took from the financial industry that I apply now, like things like that. And so, like I said, not even a year that I've been graduated, and we have this massive team across the board. And I tell my daughters all the time, like, you're going to be out there. You're going to be like, you just learn how to move professional. I'm going to show you how to do it, but learn how to move professional, because trust me, I've emotionally detached from a lot of stuff. And I can't tell you how great it feels not to have to react to everything. Shout out to Kevin Durant, because that motherfucker reacts to everything. And so not reacting to everything that people say has found me a lot of peace. And that's what I'm trying to teach my daughters. Your friends are going to say a lot of shit. They're going to talk a lot of shit. They're going to try and down everything you're doing. But guess what? To be great, that's your clothing line. Everything that I'm doing, it's to build that legacy for you guys, for you girls. And so laying that foundation and that groundwork, it's a lot of fucking work. A lot of fucking work. But at the end of the day, it's going to benefit them. It's going to benefit everybody, because I'm trying to push what I'm doing and who I am to the people. Hey, you don't need to spend $100,000 to go to school to learn from a teacher that's only making $50,000. You come learn from people out in the field that are just doing it. You want to be an actor? You want to be a TV personality? Come over here. Documentation is key, Malina. Documentation. I learned that. You know, so trying again, building that foundation for my daughters, and real, they want to take after me. They do, but the same thing you were telling your daughters, the same thing I told my daughters. You don't have to do what I'm doing. You want to be a singer, you want to be a producer. I go, you can, whatever you want to get paid for, and we're talking like anything, you can do it. We have the way, we have the platform, whatever it is. But it comes with patience. It comes with time. A lot of people give up because they don't have patience. You know, trusting the process, we all hear people say that all the time. And I can tell you one thing, that's very true. You have to trust the process, or it's going to come crumbling down. And that's just, that's the message that I bring. That's the message that I give. And like I say, I give that to everybody. I try to give that on a weekly basis. I try to really take people behind the scenes of like, damn, this industry it's crazy. It ain't. We all hear about that shit on on TV and all that stuff, but it is very fucking crazy. You know. So I think so one of the things with if you could send a message to the youth. I love everything you said, about your kids and being a leader, being the mom that you are. I commend you for that, Malina. Uh, if you could send one message to the youth, what would you tell the youth?
Always be yourself. Let yourself shine. Don't hold back, because the moment you hold back is the moment things start to crumble. Always be the one to stand out, because when you stand out, you become somebody. You have to stop letting everybody's voice and everybody's negativity stop getting in the way, because if you shine, you can make things happen. You will grow. And like you said, it's just trust the process. Be patient. As hard as it is that you want things to happen now at that given moment, it's never going to happen. You have to earn it. Grow. Let yourself shine. And that's how you're going to succeed.
Amen. Amen to that. I do want to send this message to the youth on my behalf too as well, that you're going to get a lot of people that do a lot of talking, right? You can either go with them or you can follow your own path, follow your own journey. I've been blessed and fortunate enough to be able to do just that. I've been a rebel to what everybody says. I went my own path. We can either sit on our ass watching the very thing that runs the world, which is media, TV, everything. Or we can actually be on the other side of it where, hey, I'm now getting paid to be on TV. I'm now getting paid to make TikToks, So to the youth, I want you to really take that into account, because I know I felt like I was late. So I was late to the party for all this. I was one of those ones. I'd partied in my 20s, every week. Every week I was going out doing just abandoning hope and escaping through the pain. So, to the youth, get it together, figure out, again, like Malina said, figure out what you want to do, because there is resources, there's a path, there's a journey. It's out there. You just got to know the right people and the right resources to be able to get. So, do you have any last words or any last messages you'd like to send? I appreciate you, Malina. I think we planned this like a month ago, I believe, or it feels like a month now.
About a month ago. Yes.
So I appreciate you coming on. This was a great, great message. I know this better go viral, because you said a lot of keys, a lot of great things. So appreciate you, Malina. Everybody go follow, like, subscribe, share. You want to give away your social media? You want to keep it reserved? Because I know
my social media is pretty reserved, because I have a lot of creeps that follow me.
Okay.
So.
Hey, all y'all with the fake ass profiles, man, cut that shit out. Go extend your car warranty somewhere else. I love you guys. Take care. And Malina, thank you again.